This is basically the moment I set my project on fire.
This might be the tackiest lamp I own, but obviously instead of tossing it out like a normal person, I'm gonna try and give it a new life. This video might end in one of those tacky to luxury situations, or it might be tacky to tacky, I don't know. Let's do this. So I found this while I was having a little clear out, and it screams early 2000 souvenir shop situations, and I don't think it belongs anywhere here. However, I see potential. At first, I thought I want to do a geode vibe and I'm going to cover the entire Eiffel Tower situation. But now the more I've thought about it, I think I want to retain some of the tower and take it from there. We're going to leave some of it in. I don't know. That's the vision I have. I mean, this is low stakes. This was going to end in the bin anyway, so we may as well just have a little play. So I took the lamp outside because we're about to get messy with some expanding foam. And before I could even get started, Skye decided to make an early entrance. Is it just me, or does Skye somehow know the second I hit record? I mean, I swear, lately, every time I switch on the camera, he just appears out of nowhere. Like, at this point, I genuinely think he thinks he's a YouTube celebrity. Now that he's here, he obviously wants to remind you of the important stuff. Give this video a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're new, and hype this video so we can keep making weird projects like this. All right, Skye, now I actually do need to get some work done. As I mentioned, I'm using some expanding foam for this. And if you've worked with expanding foam before, I mean, the clue is very much in the name, it expands a lot. So because I still want some bits of the Eiffel Tower peeking through the final piece, I'm going to tape some sections off. And that way, you know, even if the foam gets a little too enthusiastic, we can just peel it away. So hopefully we can still have a little bit of the tower showing. I mean, that's the plan anyway. But somehow this foam had some other ideas. I don't know if it was the heat outside or this was just foam that had gone bad. Like, it was just melting on me. Like, it wouldn't stay where I needed it to stay, and things got super messy. I had to get my gloves on and I had to basically like wrestle it into place, and somehow I managed to get a bit of build-up where I wanted to have some. I don't know where or how, but somewhere on the internet, I remember reading that if you spray expanding foam with some water, it actually helps it to cure faster. And again, I have absolutely no idea if it's true, but I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to mist it with some water and leave this to cure.
The next day.
Now, it is the next day. Our foam is fully cured, which means it's time to bring out some power tools. And by power tools, I mean my brand new foam cutter. This is basically the moment I set my project on fire. Yep, that happened. And I can tell you now, my heart was beating out of my chest in this moment. I feel like we need to see this in slow-mo and in replay, because I don't know if you can understand how dramatic it did get there just for a second. Even if it was just for a second, it got dramatic, not in the best way. Okay, so I just want to clarify, this was nothing to do with the tool. It was 100% user error.
Really?
Thankfully, the flames went out on their own before I had to make a dramatic dash for the fire extinguisher, which I was fully prepared to do at one point, but luckily the situation calmed down on its own. And I went back to using the cutter, this time at a lower heat setting. So basically what I did was, in my head, I was thinking, you know, this is expanding foam, it's probably a lot more dense. And so I have cranked this thing up all the way to the highest temperature, which, as we have just witnessed, was completely unnecessary and also dangerous. But once I had the temperature lowered, everything was fine. My foam was cutting like butter and my heart rate did eventually normalize. But yeah, that happened, and I had to show it to you guys because now you know what not to do. Oftentimes my videos are such. They are mostly a tutorial on what not to do. I'm happy with the overall shape now. It's looking much more like how I want it to. And I've also carved out 2 little channels on the sides, which probably you can't even see at the moment, but those are basically some channels where I want to stuff some crystals in. So hopefully it'll make sense later. But before we get to that, I feel like everything needs to be painted. And the original plan for this lamp was to be black and gold, except I discovered that I absolutely have no black spray paint left. So in true use what you've got fashion, we pivoted to some navy blue instead. That's what I have. And honestly, it is fine. It is fine. Let's pretend that was the plan all along. It's going to be fine. Now, for the crystals, I'm using these acrylic rocks instead of real crystals. They are much lighter, a lot more budget friendly. I just gave them a little mist of some spray paint just to sort of like blend the colors a little bit. Also, this is the moment I realized I'm literally filming this entire project outside. Like, that wasn't the plan, but to be fair, like, it's a lovely day, and between all of the carving foam and spray painting and fumes, I would much rather do this outside than to do it in my house. The only downside to that is that you are stuck with this 1 camera angle instead of my usual 2 camera setup, but I have a feeling you lot don't mind. You are the best and you'll forgive me for that. Okay, so I finally did briefly move back inside to add the crystals to our lamp. I'm basically just hot gluing them into the little channels that I made and just like shoving them in there. And I am going to reinforce these with some resin later, but for now it just makes sense to just sort of add these with some hot glue. I basically decided to go with this sort of diagonal crystal formation, you know, just because it felt natural to me. In an ideal world, I should have had like mixed sizes of crystals, like some smaller ones and bigger ones, but unfortunately I only have these big acrylic rocks left. And again, I wasn't gonna go shopping for some more crystals. I'm just gonna use what I have, you guys. Like, it's fine. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. Now that I have my crystals down, it is time to reinforce some of these with some UV resin, and I'm bringing out some blue UV resin from Jdiction Officials, who are the lovely sponsors of today's video. So thank you so much, Jdiction, for continuing to support my channel and my ideas on here. As always, I will link you guys with everything I've used along with my discount code in the description. And if you're wondering, Jessica, why blue UV resin? And the incredibly scientific answer is because I had some. Honestly, clear UV resin would just work absolutely fine, but I have some of these colored UV resins by Jdiction. I also have their glitter version, and you know, it's one of those things you don't think they're essentials, but somehow or the other they end up in my projects, and they are so handy and fun. And very quickly, I did move back outside because again, the sun was absolutely blazing, which basically meant I had the biggest UV lamp in the world, so it would just be rude not to use it. I wasn't going to stay inside and cure it with a little UV lamp. So we are back outside again. And after our resin is cured, I got some gold spray paint out and just sort of like dusted over some of the areas I wanted a hint of gold. I say a hint, it was more than a hint. Let's face it, I do like my gold. But again, at this point, it's very much like trust the process, and I'm not overthinking, I'm just doing and having fun on this one. Also, along the lines, I found a pot of these random crystally stony bits. They're basically like a mix of like blue and golds and like shiny things all together. And I thought, do you know what? Let's throw some of those on. So I got some clear UV resin to stick these down, and I'm just like popping these in some sort of like areas and nooks and crannies, just, you know, enough to sort of catch the light and like make your eye wander around the piece. Because why not? You know, at this point, everything is like, why not? Let's put it on. And to finish everything, I gave this lamp a few coats of clear lacquer, and it is finally time to show you what it looks like. So this is our little Eiffel Tower transformation. I love the texture. I love how organic it ended up looking. It feels like a giant sort of crystal formation has slowly grown around the tower over like 100 of years and reclaiming it bit by bit. I love the textures, like the sort of like stone look with the crystals and the gold. And I absolutely am so glad that I left some of the tower peeking through, like at the bottom and on the top. It looks like it's frozen in time. It definitely sort of tells a story. One thing I do feel I could have added a bit more crushed glass mixed in with the acrylic crystals, just to sort of add a little bit extra sparkle. That being said, I could still add those. So actually, let me know in the comments if I should leave it as it is or if I should give it a dash of some crushed glass here and there. Because honestly, I feel like that wouldn't be such a bad idea. Again, it's just one of those, let's put it on there. What could go wrong?
Okay, so we nearly started a fire rescuing this lamp, but if you've enjoyed this video and if you like what we did to this old Eiffel Tower lamp, leave me a like and I shall see you in the next one. Bye. If you've enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks you will like these too, so go check them out.